my friends. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. I am Bess McCarty, Victoria, Kansas. And today we're covering the book, No Limits by John Maxwell. This is an incredible book, you guys. A really incredible book because we are our own limits. No limits, no limits. Can you conceive of that? So this show, the topic today, by the way, is abundance capacity. And he prefaces that, or subtitles that, your choice to believe there is more than enough. And to realize it, not just to imagine it, but to realize it. Your choice. It's our choice to believe there's more than enough. And this is a really, really good chapter. I have a bunch of good stories of John's and mine to share with you. At first I'm going to invite people here and sort of introduce the show a little bit. This MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show is where we give a book report, essentially, or what we learn and understand and add our stories to a personal growth book every month. And a lot of times we do cover John Maxwell. And this show is presented Monday through Friday by Jeffrey David Gamble and Brandy Pember. On Wednesdays, I present. You can find both of our presentations either on our pages, or you can find them all over at the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. And if you scroll down there, you can find 2 years worth, about 400 and some replays. And you can also find Jeff's cliff notes of the books. So there you go. You can read the book, listen in on the lunch show, where you can grow for lunch and get food for thought, or you can, or breakfast in some people, or dinner time in some people's time zone. And you can also get Jeff's cliff notes. So you can watch the show, read the book, get the cliff notes, all of that. Really wonderful, because it said that if you do an hour of personal growth work a day, that's the best investment in your success. And that's why we sponsor this show. It's sponsored by our generic alternative school for network marketers, the MLM Millionaire Academy. And this school has been, it's over 10 years old. It has members that have been in the school that long. And we pride ourselves in teaching people how to always get a yes, how to overcome how to never get objections, and to even shortcut follow-up, and not using a video as a first tool, but your own presentation as a first tool. All these things are kind of different than most people do, but they are resulting in people jumping ranks very fast in the school. So we hope you can check that out. I'll put a link below, but you can also find it at mlmmillionaireclub.com. It used to be called MLM Millionaire Club, now Academy, but we're changing website addresses, so that's where you can find it. Information about the school, super affordable and super effective. So, back to the show here. And welcome, Alasun Kami, if I pronounced your name right. And if you're watching the replay, please type in replay so I can thank you for watching, because I'd love to thank you for that. Okay, so the topic today, really, really, really good. Abundance. Your abundance capacity. If there's no limits, there's got to be abundance, right? It's the opposite of limits. Abundance, what does that mean to you? To me, it means that there's enough. There's plenty. That's what it means to me. Plenty of everything to get our needs met physically, financially, emotionally, socially. You know, even in the pandemic, there can be social abundance online, or taking a 6-foot walk with a neighbor outside and talking. That's what I've been doing. So there's always enough to meet our needs, and not just to believe it, I think, but to know it. To know it right down to my core. That's abundance thinking. And that's happiness thinking, when I don't doubt, when I don't fear. But we're human, and I think we're here to learn that. We haven't mastered already. I think if we mastered abundance thinking, we wouldn't need to be here. But since we are in this earth, in this life, and a lot of people call this a school for personal and spiritual growth. Since we're here, I think that it takes us to the next level. Life arranges somehow, incredibly, and almost unbelievably, arranges these perfect experiences for our growth along these lines. And one of them is the limitless thinking or the abundance thinking. So like I have abundance thinking, right? But there's times in my life when I've been challenged, and John describes 3 in his, and I'm going to share all of our stories in a minute here. But doesn't it just make sense that if I have abundance thinking, life wants me to grow, because life always does want me to grow. That's the nature of life, of a tree, of a plant, a pet, anything, people. It always wants us to grow. So if I have abundance thinking and life wants me to grow, then life has got to arrange a situation, a classroom mock-up situation, because this world is a class, right? A school. Arrange a situation that will stretch me and challenge me beyond what I was before. So this is normal. And I think that growth happens anytime we approach a new thing, a new opportunity, a new level, a new cycle. Like the goldfish the fish, it was a big fish in a little pond, or maybe the biggest fish. It's time to jump into a new pond. Or maybe that fish now has more room to grow, and maybe it's the littlest fish of all the fish in the bigger pond. Now it has more room, but it has to catch up to the other fish, maybe in growth. And there's going to be an adjustment at that time. A lot of times that results in fear or a test of our abundance thinking. So this is how it happened for John Maxwell. He said, generally he thinks he was born with an abundant mindset. He'd wake up every morning, exciting, and like something wonderful and exciting is about to happen every day, and I wanted to experience it fully. That sounds like my little granddaughter. She wakes up like, okay, what's going to happen now? Wakes up from a nap or from overnight sleep. She's 1 year old, and it's like, well, like yesterday I learned to walk, and now, or a few months ago, now I can actually crawl up on the couch. I can walk on the couch. Like that's a whole new territory that she hadn't been before, a whole new ability. Can't climb up on the bed yet, but she can climb up on the couch. And I remember when she was just learning to pull herself up along the couch and to walk along. That was pretty cool because she was no longer crawling, So every day it's a new step. Wow, what will I learn today? What new ability will I have? What new freedom will I get? So I think John was like that. He said, like he lived in this sleepy little Ohio town and only corn grew there, but yet he was exciting that something wonderful and exciting was going to happen every day, and he wanted it. So he was born with that abundance mindset, and he observed that in himself and other people, but he was tempted 3 times in his life to think scarcity or fear, and they were all times of change, just like we talked about, jumping into a bigger pond. So this is what happened to him. So the first time was when he was 33 years old, and at that time he was leading a fantastic church whose growth and health had been recognized by people in that world, and he was doing things he was very comfortable with. He was working with people he loved, and everything was good. He was offered to take his leadership to other churches, to train leaders in different organizations. And for 2 years, he weighed out the pros and cons, right? There was people who wanted him to stay. It was comfortable. Why strike out into a new world? It was comfortable there. It was good there. Everything was working. Everything was good and praised and acknowledged and loved and all that stuff. So for 2 years, he weighed it. Scarcity or abundance. And he went for the abundance. He left the church to train leaders in a different organization. Second time, he faced this scarcity temptation temptation, was when he was 48. He was leading a church again, this time in San Diego. Again, the church had grown tremendously, and I loved the people there. Our work had received recognition. The church was recognized as one of the 10 most influential churches in America, because John Maxwell was at the helm. And the pastor before him stayed till he retired, and John could have done the same thing. However, he had the opportunity to take his writing and speaking to a bigger audience and get into bigger leadership outside the church. He had the potential to reach many more people, but the risk is he might not succeed. And that means financially too, right? He had a secure position. He could have retired. It would have been good. But he had this opportunity to help even more people, but he had to risk everything and start over from the bottom. Could he do it? Could he be successful? Or would he help even less people than he was now? In the end, he said he went over to the abundance thinking and resigned his position from the church. And we know what happened after that. He writes over 80 books, leads organizations, trains leaders in different countries, and makes a huge impact in the world. Look how John Maxwell has affected you and me and written all these books. It was a leap of faith. He couldn't have done that with the scarcity thinking, like I could play it safe. I can settle for this. And welcome, Vicki. Good to see you. Vicki, we're talking about John Maxwell and his book, No Limits, on the chapter Abundance Thinking. So I'm telling stories about when he and I'm going to tell stories about me too, have faced the temptation to think scarcity, or I call it fear, letting fear rule. But we know fear is a liar. Fear is not even true. The things that fear tells us about, 90% never happen, that people worry about. Okay, so back to John Maxwell. Third temptation came when he was 66 years old. And, at that point, life was good. He was very successful in all of his leadership, books and trainings and seminars, and a sought-after speaker in the world, a well-paid one and all that stuff. But life was good. I was starting to count down the years to 70, thinking maybe at that time I'd step away from my organization. But two people helped him snap out of that thinking, and they said, "You're the face of the organization." He said, "I'm so glad that I chose abundance once again." So he's over 74, 72, 74, something like that. And he just spoke recently for Eric Worre's recent seminar. And it was his speaking, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, but his speaking was as powerful as ever and made a difference and a shift for me again every time that I hear him. Thank goodness he's still speaking, that he didn't step away, that he kept this going. So the times in my life when I've encountered this too was two major kind of turning points. One is one that I'm in right now. A year ago, I'm from Kansas here, grew up here, moved to San Diego about when I was in my 20s, lived there for 30 years. I lived there longer than here because of the good weather and all that stuff, and I just like the ocean. I'm a Scorpio water sign, and I just like the energy of San Diego. Plus, I visited there with my mother and my sister when I was 10 years old, and I fell in love with San Diego. Had palm trees and sun and ocean and all that stuff. So I ended up living there and was very successful in a network marketing company there full-time. Went up and down the coast of California training my team and all of this. Married, had a son who stayed there when I came back to Kansas to help family. I helped my mother pass away in her last years, and especially her last 5 months. And then I stayed because my niece had twins, and she needed help at that time. And it was very clear that I was back here for a purpose. And the people I would run into, old high school classmates and things, maybe I had some closure, some more learning to do. It just felt very comfortable here back in my roots. And then my niece moved and helped her, and then I'd help my sister when she needed me during a health condition, and she helped me during mine. So I had I had a sister here, brother, his family, love bond with her kids, her 4 kids. And I found myself growing very content here. And the cost of living is very low. It's so delightful how economical it is here in the little town of 1,000 people that I live in, near another, which is where my mother's care home was, near another town of 20,000 people, and how nice it is to have a rural, slower life near the farm where I grew up. very little air pollution except from the spraying crops and stuff. But weather challenges here, and wind and cold and snow and all that stuff. But very comfortable in many ways. I found myself deepening relationships here, deepening friendships and co-workerships, and just feeling very good here. But I said to my son, I miss you. I saw him once a year, went out and visited him, but I'm growing close to my nieces and nephews here, closer. I see them more than I see you. And he goes, well, if they need your help, stay there. I don't need any help. But then he ended up meeting the love of his life, and they had a baby last year. And suddenly my heart is there. When I go and visit them, I cry when I leave, and suddenly my heart just says, I have to be there. I have to be there full time. Don't want to be a FaceTime grandma or 4 times a year visit grandma, because I was flying out there a lot the last year. So my heart says move out there. And of course I know San Diego, lived there 30 years. I know my way around all, even though it's changed some. It's a very, very happy leap for me. Financially, it's a little strange because I don't know where I'm going to live or exactly what I have my online work that I'm taking there, but I don't know exactly where I'll live. The cost of living is triple what it is here. My car insurance will double, and probably my food will increase a lot too. My raw organic food and all that will increase significantly. So it's in traffic and a little bit more air pollution, and income tax, 13% there, state income tax, and other type of big brother laws they're have or trying to pass. So I feel like I'm sort of walking into the jaws, but I know my son and his family might eventually move to a lower cost of living place too, but it won't be Kansas, even though we are on farmland here and everything. So it's a leap, it's a step, and I've been tempted a little bit. The happiness and the inner guidance is very clear to go, but I've been tempted a little bit with a scarcity mindset. Okay, what if my my work, my online income does not measure up to the triple cost of housing there or the increased cost of living? So I keep coming back to when I get that inner guidance, like Eric Worre says, you say yes, you tell the world, and then you figure it out. And I know there's always been an answer in my life whenever I've gotten the inner guidance, like to move here actually. Took another leap. And so welcome, Dakota. Glad to see you. Father is in the hospital. Oh, I'm sorry. And best wishes. And again, let's think of an abundance mindset, that the best happens for all concerned. It always does. I've heard that every story has a happy ending. If it doesn't, it's not done yet. So we will see. Even losing a loved one, it seems so very, very hard. But then I notice that spiritual qualities, it's us who suffer more than the loved ones are reported to be pretty happy when they come back and visited with people or seen them in dreams. They're really have pretty happy where they go, but it's us who stay behind, isn't it? Yes, but the hardest times in my life was when my mother was in the hospital, or when I've lost a loved one. It can bring up my fears as well. It has brought up my fears and other challenging emotions. So yes, Dakota, he is in our hearts. Thank you. Another time in my life when scarcity thinking tempted me is when I was in a relationship. I was engaged to be married, and noticed that as we lived together over time, we delayed the marriage. And it was very clear in her guidance that we were to be together and learn things from each other and teach things to each other. But as we began to live together, it became more platonic, more of a friendship. And there was part of me that said, well, that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of good things here. There's a lot of goodwill and love and friendship here. And even if it's more platonic, that's better than no relationship. You know, I think I have a good friendship here. You know, maybe I'll stay living in the same house as this person. And it was tempting to stay that or to settle or to feel complacent because I didn't want to move. I didn't want to date again, you know, go through all of that again. I was like life was good. Life was rolling along. Maybe there's a lot of marriages like that, you know, that are just continuing for convenience. But I had lunch with a friend one day, and she said, I guess your choice, Bess, is between staying where you are or risking it all for the chance to have something greater. In other words, being willing to have nothing, no relationship, on the chance that you will find a better one. And when she put it like that, I thought, it's not like me to settle. What am I doing? You know, what am I thinking? That's not me at all. And I realized that I would rather risk having nothing for the chance to have a better relationship, a relationship that had all the things in it that I want, including the closeness and the compatibility and everything. I wanted that. And I was willing to not have anything to have a chance at that. So again, I limited that scarcity thinking, right? Because I was scared, you know, I wanted to stay there because it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. It's not what I want. I was settling. So that's when it tempted me. And Dakota says, thanks. So with people listening, have you ever been tempted by a scarcity mindset? I bet each of you have a story, because really that's what life is about, isn't it? It's about facing our fears or turning over into trust and love. And it teaches me that we are not in control. My fear teaches me. I mean, if I'm ever afraid, it's because I wish I was in control. I wish to give myself the security and the guarantee of how things are going to come out. I don't know what's going to happen in San Diego. It's a huge, big adventure. All I know is I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to live there. And love is calling me. My heart is calling me, so I follow that. And I trust that. Okay. John says, what does it look like to live on the other side of no? He said to settle, it means it's limiting because it directs you away from new opportunities. It's easy because when you say no, you don't have to do anything or go anywhere. It's comforting, feels familiar. It's deceiving because it appears to be safer, but it's not. Stephen Pressfield says, the guy who wrote The War of Art. Stephen Pressfield says, it's one thing to lie to ourselves. It's another thing to believe it. So it's deceiving, and also it's crowded because that's where average people live. Now, what does it look to live on the other side of yes, saying yes to the new opportunity? He says it's exciting because you need creativity to figure stuff out when they're new. And you feel good about yourself when you do that, by the way. You feel pretty good when you meet a challenge and figure stuff out. So you'd miss that if you stayed safe. And he said, living on the other side of yes, it's enlarging because abundance creates more abundance, and it's challenging. All right, challenges us, and that's good because we grow, and it's rewarding because on the other side of yes, you often find more yeses, and there's no limit to that, to the beauty and the growth and the wonderfulness of life. There's no limit to the wonderfulness of life, and to the amount of love and abundance and new things and new areas that we can grow in, right? So, characteristics of people with increased abundance capacity. They possess high belief. They say to themselves, there's more to me than what people see. I love that. And they believe in others. They say there's more to others than I can see. What an adventure to discover ourselves or another. And they believe in today. They say there's more in today than I can see. They believe in tomorrow. There's more in the future than I can see. 2, abundance people understand The power of perspective. Our perspective is not determined by what we see, it's how we see it. And that comes from who we are, who we believe in ourselves to be. And number 3, abundance people are generous to others because they have no fear. In fact, my sister's like that. She always says, even as a child, she loved to give to people more than buy something for herself. You know, our family would go out shopping, and the children would be given a certain amount of money to spend. And my brothers and I spend it on something we like. My sister spend it on something my brothers would like for themselves or would needed to add to their money to get something. Or she'd buy something like my mother, that my mother would like for her. She got more joy out of doing that than buying it for herself. Excuse me. That's a pretty mature lesson for a youngster to have, and she's still like that. She gives all the time to people, and she says it comes back, you know, even financially or so many other ways, but that's her greatest joy. The abundance paradox, the more you give, the more you have to give and want to give. It takes trust to do that. And we should want more for people than we want from people. That makes us the happiest, really. That really is the secret to happiness. It's to focus on what we can give, and somehow we become really happy doing that. It's a secret. Sometimes the smallest step in the right direction becomes the biggest step in your life. So, taking steps toward abundance. These are some abundance capacity questions. When faced with an opportunity, are you naturally a yes person or a no person? If abundance means saying yes, what can you do to prompt yourself to say yes more often? Say yes to life. Opportunities. 2, believe in abundance begins with a person's belief in him or herself. How would you rate your self-belief? High, medium, or low? And what must you do to raise it? Put yourself in a position to embrace a higher one. Good questions. And number 3 and last question. Are you currently looking at your life and saying, there's no way? Pick something important to you and tell yourself, there's got to be a better way. Start brainstorming ideas for how you can move forward positively. It really is a choice. What do we want to create? What do we want to look at? It really is a choice. We can do this. Don't believe that there is no way. There is a solution to every problem. As the shrink of MLM, this is what I tell clients and students all the time. There's a solution to every problem. It's always within reach, and you can solve it. You have the ability to solve any problem before you. That's why life brought it. Life doesn't bring us a problem just for the heck of it, to beat us down, to win over us, to discourage us. No, life brings us challenges to make us great. And it never brings a greater challenge than we're up for. I don't know how it does that, but it's true. And if it brings you a challenge, you're up for it. Think more of yourself than not. Whatever challenges in your life, you have the capacity for it. Maybe I wouldn't, but you do because it's in your life. And life will bring me that challenge maybe later when I'm strong enough. It's always an opportunity to grow. So let us embrace it. Let's not settle. Let's not choose the safe road. I mean, measure your risks. Only take a risk as far as you believe you can. But if you don't have a choice, then you're up for it. Life knows it's perfect for you. It's perfect for you. Anybody else have a question, a thought, a takeaway? Did you get something from this that you can use today? I'd like to hear it below. And have you ever overcome the temptation to settle? Please type in yes, because I want to hear that. I know each of you have a story. There's a lot of wisdom on this page right now, people watching. I know a lot of you, some of you personally, have overcome a lot of things in your life. Dakota's going through one right now. Vicky's gone through a number of big challenges. She has such a big heart, and I know that it only improved her heart and improved her ability to love and strengthened her too. So let us be grateful for the challenges see the abundance in them, and say yes to life. Be willing to find the solutions, to be creative. Don't have to do it alone. You can ask life, hey, bring me some help here, bring me the right answer. You can start asking around. Some people put questions out on Facebook. Who do you know that for this or that? Or how do you solve this or that problem? That's a great technique for creativity. Ask for help. Ask for advice from people. And know that life will bring you exactly what you need to handle exactly what you're going through at this time. And say yes to that invitation to the bigger level, you guys. I mean, weigh out the pros and cons. Make sure it's a step you're prepared to take. But if it scares you a little, good. Good. That means you're going to grow from it. So, love you guys. This show, again, is sponsored by the MLM Millionaire Academy, our generic alternative school for network marketers. We have classes weekly, every Sunday night. They're recorded, sent out to people who can't watch it because of their time zone or other work limitations. And it's helping people jump ranks. 2 teachers in it, Jeffrey David Gamble, who is incredible. And we love listening to him and the tips that he has from his experience. And then me, from my mindset, is what I contribute as a body-mind therapist, bringing this back to network marketers. 30 years been doing this. So it works. Help people jump ranks. Helped one fellow the other day have a tremendous breakthrough, and he's just going great guns right now. And he knew that his mindset was blocking him from just going forth like a rocket. And now he's doing his challenge, and his business is shooting to the moon. So this stuff works. The mindset, the skills that we teach in the school, and we also, Jeff and I, do private coaching. But the school is a very affordable place to start and to find us. So we invite you to check it out at mlmmillionaireclub.com. I'll post the link below. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow for John Maxwell's No Limits, Chapter 13, called The Discipline Capacity, your choice to focus now and follow through. So he talks about no limits. Just an overview. So far, he's talked about energy, emotion, thinking, people, creative, production, leadership, responsibility, character, abundance, discipline, intentionality, attitude, risk, spiritual growth, partnership. Those are the different aspects of the no limits that John goes into so masterfully. So come back tomorrow for the discipline capacity with Brandy and Jeff. You can find on Jeff's page, but then I share it into the MLM Millionaire Academy, MLM Leadership Show Facebook group. So see you tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Even on Thanksgiving, we're going to have a show, and Friday we're going to have a show. So we'll see you guys then. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. How are you celebrating? Are you doing it safely? I am. We're going to sit outside my brother's big backyard, and I'm going to stay 6 feet away from people, but yeah, we're going to see each other. And I'm thankful for them and for everyone. Thankful for you. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.